When the day becomes the night, and the sky becomes the sea. When the clock strikes heavy, and there's no time for tea. And in our darkest hour, before my final rhyme, she will come back home to Wonderland and turn back the hands of time. This cannot be good.
So as you have probably guessed by now, this episode is just as much about Alice Through the Looking Glass as it is about X-Men Apocalypse, or specifically, a rather huge narrative misstep I believe both movies made. Sadly, that does mean this video will be filled with spoilers from this point on, so if you haven't seen the movies,
why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Because the spoilers are coming in 3, 2, 1. You see, Magneto and the Red Queen have more in common than just a favorite color. Over the course of their individual franchises, both characters have now at some point committed mass murder and been completely forgiven for it. And I take issue with that. I know that forgiveness is next to godliness, but there's a reason I'm not a Catholic. And I do believe that there are some things in life that are completely unforgivable. Example, destroying entire cities and cold-bloodedly murdering hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Now, all of this isn't to say I don't want my villains to be vicious, but I am trying to say that the resolution to a bad guy's story and any penance they must pay does need to be equal to the crimes they have committed throughout the narrative. So it's kinda silly that Alice Through the Looking Glass ends with everybody in Wonderland just forgiving and forgetting that the Red Queen once slaughtered half the kingdom and started filling up the moat of her castle with the heads of her decapitated enemies. And it's kinda dumb that Professor Xavier and the X-Men just let Magneto get off scot-free after murdering millions of people, including an X-Men, arguably. And someone please tell me the Vegas odds for two completely different movies coming out from different studios the same weekend with the same narrative flaw in them. Just what are the chances of that happening? Seriously, someone out there tell me what the odds are of this ever happening again, because I can barely solve for X, let alone whip out the algorithmic statisticals needed to figure these types of things. So if anyone can help me, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, I'm gonna get going, because I'm already really late for a very important date.
No time to say hello, goodbye, I'm late.